Okay, well, let's get started. Well, first of all, I want to thank Leonard and those that have joined us today. We're going to talk a little bit about Protractor. And if you followed us at all, you know that we started this company. It's been over 10 years ago, and we brought out a system to help you find and recover your animal. What that is, it's a way to, when an arrow hits an animal, the arrow passes through, falls out, whatever happens, but the transmitter stays on the outside. The transmitter looks just like that. The hook buries itself into it, stays with the animal. That's how the Protractor system kind of come about. Let me back up just a little bit. All of us have one time or another either had a shot that was marginal or maybe a shot that wasn't as good as what we thought. And then the work comes in trying to find and recover that animal. Sometimes it's minutes, hours, maybe even the next day, or maybe you don't find it at all. We all know that when we go out hunting, we use all the tools we have. Make sure we got a good bow, make sure we've got good arrows, got good broadheads, make sure that we practice so that when we do shoot and hit an animal, we can take it down as cleanly and as quickly as possible so that it's a good, clean kill. But even though we make a good shot, some of those animals can still go quite a ways without even knowing hardly that they're even hit very badly, which is a deadly shot. Eventually they're going to die. The Protractor system has been built so that she's got a 2-mile range. So up to 2 miles of optimum signal strength, we can find and recover that animal. It has an 18 to 20 hour life of the battery in the transmitter. So each one of these have a battery in it. And that battery is fully rechargeable. You can charge it up and use it over and over again. It doesn't matter. Blood on it, water, because these have to be waterproof. They'll still keep sending a signal. Now, Protractor, we've take pride in knowing that, if anybody's got a question, anybody's got a problem, we'll replace these and no questions asked. We want to make sure that you have a good working product. These have to be in a charger and held anytime that you're not using them. So, and each one of the systems will come with a charger. All you do is put it down in, lock it in place. A red light will come on the front when it's charging. When it's fully charged, it'll be green. So in the off time, we want you to make sure you leave those in your charger. Now, how this works is, let me show you a little bit on how the Protractor system works. This is transmitter 680. And on that receiver, if you can see that, and we get so the glare's not off there, is 680. As that animal is hit with the arrows, it goes through, it will shear off. Now, bear with me for a second. I'll just back this arrow off. It comes out. Now it's staying with that animal. Now on the receiver, a signal will be picked up and it'll tell you that this transmitter 680 is live and active. How you find that animal is when you shoot him or her, you see it run down the path. So you know that it's kind of gone down maybe a fence line. Then it's out of sight. So you know you've hit it and it's gone, say, down the fence line. Sit in your tree stand or your blind and wait. Wait for 20, 30 minutes. At the bottom here is a counter, and it will say how long that transmitter has been active. And once it gets up to 30 to 45 minutes, go in the direction that you saw that animal run. Now, when you hit the animal, it could be here, it's at 213 because the transmitter is right here by me. It'll maybe go to 200, 190, 180, 160, 150, 155, 158. You know it stopped. You know it's either down or it's just standing there. Wait till 30 to 45 minutes and then work your way to it. Go 20 yards, take another reading. And how you do that is you point the receiver with the green Yagi antenna towards that animal that you knew run down the fence line. So now it has a signal of 150. Wait 10, 15 seconds, go to the right 10 degrees, wait for another 10, 15 seconds. Now it goes up to 158. All right. Wait another 10, 15 seconds, go another 10 degrees to the right. Now it goes back down to, say, 147. All right, go back to where you got the 158 and go in that direction. So each time you take a reading, go back and forth, wait for 10, 15 seconds. Don't wave it back and forth because it's trying to come back and answer, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, but you want it to be able to be read on the screen. So on that screen will be the signal. As you get closer, 170, 180. When you get in the 200s, you know that you're in, say, about a 20-yard circle. Now, if you can't see it, just take your time. Work your way around. If you're not in the middle of a football field, so you either got to go down a path or you got to go through the brush. As you go around the obstacles, it'll slowly turn you around. So as I go around, even though I'm at the 200s, it might go down to, say, 198. And you know that it's in this circle. Just work your way around to where you get into there. Pretty soon you will come up on that animal. It takes some practice. It takes a little bit of knowing and having confidence in your equipment. When you first get your Protractor system, we'd like everybody to play hide and seek. Hide and seek is take the transmitter, go out and have someone hide it. Don't go out there a mile. Just go, say, 40, 50 yards, some heavy timber. Then have them come back. Then you go and try to find it. Now, go slowly. As you do this more and more, you're going to get more familiar on how sensitive this is on sending a signal. This has been a few years ago, but we did some testing and we shot out in the middle of an alfalfa field. And in the middle of this alfalfa field was a big pivot. So the alfalfa was up to our waist, was getting ready to be cut. We shot it out there in daylight. Then we went back in the evening when it was dark. We didn't know where it was, but we took our receiver, pointed it in the direction. I'll turn around so you can see the screen, point in the direction. Pretty soon it took us into an area that was like 20 yards. We took the antenna off, which comes off very easily. And then we would lay it down. It took us right to the position to where there it was. Could we see it? No, because it was down in the alfalfa hanging on one of the little branches. That's how sensitive and how this receiver works. It will take you right to that animal. Now, a few people have asked, okay, can I use more than one receiver? Absolutely. If you'll look on the screen, and I'll just put enter, and come over here and do our manual. If you see 680s at the top, and then the rest of them are empty, you can follow 6 transmitters using the same receiver. Each transmitter has a different number. We have 680, you might have 470, 310, yada, yada. That's how it works. Different transmitters. Randy Wilfong, and I'm going to pick on him. A few years ago, he had to call me. He says, Gary, he said, I shot a nice buck. I shot that buck and I did exactly what you said, but I didn't have the receiver with me in the tree stand. And I like to turn the receiver on, have it going so that when I do shoot the animal, it automatically inputs, picks a signal up because I'm watching the animal. I'm wanting to know where he's at. And you get all kind of excited. Then it's like, oh, I got to start, doing these other things. Well, he had left it in his truck. So he got out of his truck, went down, out of the tree stand, went down, went to his truck, got the receiver, turned it on, and diagonally come across, took him right to the animal. He couldn't wait to call me and tell me, Gary, it worked like you said. He didn't have it with him when he shot the animal, but he diagonally come across. Now we all have heard about ethics. Is the protractor system an ethical system? Absolutely, because this is carried in a carrier. It drops down in, locks itself in. It's held in place by, we call them a clip, locks that to where in flight, they will not come out. But as it hits and comes up and out, then this turns on. Turns on from the point of impact is when this starts to send a signal. From that point, you got 18 to 20 hours. So if you shoot one in the evening and you decide not to find it that evening and wait till the next morning, you still have plenty of battery life to go and find that animal. Each transmitter is made out of a high impact material that's been tested so that we know upon impact it's not going to break. Is it unbreakable? No. We've had people who've called and says, Gary, I've shot and broke my transmitter. How did you do that? Well, the tree jumped out in front of it. I hit the tree and it broke it. Okay, all right. You know, we'll warranty it once for a tree, but not twice for a tree. That's how it works. The hooks have been designed so that there's 1, 2, and 3 barbs, one on the top, that when it goes in, you can't pull it back out. The questions have been asked. Will it fall out when the animal's running away? Anything can happen, but in our testing, we've only had 2 applications where we know, or times that it didn't work. It didn't come out. I mean, it come out early, I should say. And what that was is the elk turned around, and this is on an elk, and grabbed a hold of it and pulled it out. Another time, it bit off an antenna, but it still had the signal. It wasn't as strong, but we still had the signal. Now, signal strength is very, very important. You've got a 50-50 chance when you shoot an animal, is it going to fall on a side that the transmitter will be on the outside of the animal, or is it going to be underneath the animal? If it's underneath, it will impede that signal. But do you still have a signal? Absolutely. I guided a lady last fall. Her name was Samantha. She was out of Idaho, over toward the Boise area. She shot an animal. Nice bull. Went down and fell over and was on its side on top of the transmitter. The signal went down. It was like at 60 and 65. But the closer she got, then it started to increase. 70, 80. Then it started getting into the hundreds. When we found and located that animal, as her husband and myself rolled it over, it immediately went up to 200. The signal works. It just takes a little bit of time and patience. You have to have patience on anything. Patience when you're hunting, patience when you're married. You know, you just have to have that. You're smiling, Leonard. I had to say that. But we all, and they got to have patience with us too. So I'm gonna give them the benefit. But patience on using your skills to find and recover that animal. All of us want to do what we're supposed to do. And our regulations, it says do everything in our power and our skills to find and recover that animal. Archery has really evolved to the point to where it's not necessarily a primitive weapon anymore because of the speed of the broadheads, of the cuts of the broadheads. You've got range finders, you have camouflage clothes. I mean, you got all these arsenals to help you hunt. Now, the key thing in hunting is you want to be ethical. You want to be ethical. Practice. Protractor comes with a practice dummy. Here's one. You can see it doesn't have an antenna on it. So you can practice shooting into a target, get familiar on what your equipment will do. Is a protractor accurate? I've had that question asked to me. Absolutely. These have been built, the carriers out of aircraft aluminum. It's called 7075. 100% the lightest and strongest aluminum made, so it's aircraft aluminum. If you break any of these, back to our warranty, I'll give you a new one for free. In fact, we want you to send it to us so we can figure out why it broke. How you load it is you will take, and I'll do this right on one with a broadhead. So I take my transmitter, put it down inside, lock it, push it in, and then the clip goes over the back, and that helps hold it in flight. Upon impact, like I've showed before, catches it, pushes it back, lets the arrow continue through. This stays on the outside of the animal. In 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, it comes away from the magnet, which is in the bottom of the carrier, that little silver, it's like a little dime, turns on. From that point on, this will be sending a signal. We've all heard stories. We've all heard stories. If I would have just, went a little bit farther, the next day the crows are flying. Okay, we did go and find it. The coyotes have got it. We don't want to waste game. We don't want to waste them at all. That's why we built and designed Protractor to be an ethical part of your arsenal, part of everybody's archery equipment to use to help you find and recover that animal, because we want to be ethical hunters. There's nothing worse than losing an animal, especially if we know if we'd win another 100 yards using the Protractor system, we'd have put us right on top of it. But sometimes we have to give up. Sometimes we have to, turn left when we should have turned right. The Protractor will keep you on the direction going to where that animal is. Last week we was talking about FOC with the Bad Boys. Now the Bad Boys are a product that slides over the shaft of your arrow. The same thing with the Protractor system is it adds weight. Weight increases momentum, weight increases penetration. These are very similar in how they've been designed and how they work. But the Bad Boys, increasing that FOC, you'll get the pass-throughs. That's just a little bit of a tidbit there. Now we had some questions that was sent in to us this last week, and I'll kind of read one. This is from Jason in New York. And these are all on Bad Boys, because next week we'll be getting questions on the Protractor system. But he says, do you have to do anything to your arrow in order to use the Bad Boys? Absolutely not. How it works is you'll take your arrow and you slide it over the shaft of your arrow. Boom, it's right on. Then take any broadhead of your choice, or if you want to practice, just take a field tip. It locks it on. No vibration, no looseness, nothing. This is, the tolerances are so tight on the arrow that when you pull it back, it just slides up and lifts up on the air, on your wrist. So very easily. That was a good question, Jason. Another one, this is Calvin from Texas. He says, are the Bad Boys available for any arrows? Absolutely. You can put these on any arrows. A regular shaft arrow, a micro arrow, all there is a different setup on them. And when you order them, if you want from micros, all you have to do is check the box for micros. We'll send you the micro Bad Boys to be used on those arrows. Another question. This is from Jessica in Kansas. Will the Bad Boys help me if I shoot a less poundage bow? That's an excellent question. Less poundage. Youth, women, even some of us men, we can't pull back those 80 and 90 pound bows. But with the Bad Boys, and I'm gonna this is a 200, it's a purple one. The Bad Boys, with that extra weight, increases momentum, penetration. Those two added together improves accuracy. So the three things all work side by side, improves accuracy with excuse me, in a woman or a youth is shooting a lesser poundage bow, with that added weight, the momentum helps carry it deeper and possibly even more of a pass through than it would without it. Weight increases all three: penetration, momentum, and accuracy. It just adds to it. And the last question I'm going to go over is that was from Jessica. So if you've got any questions, send me an email, get online, ask a question. But Protractor works. It's been tested. This is going on to our 7th year of having it out on the market. It's all over the world. It's not just here in local little areas. It's all over the world. It's been tried. It's been true. Each time we do a new update on and say we've ordered more, so our next production run, we'll do something a little bit different. One year, we decided to make them green so they stand out a little bit more. Next year, we decided to, on next production, add more on a hook. Did we need it? Not necessarily, but when we're doing an update, why not? Let's add a little more bells and whistles. Protractor by Protractor Archery. I appreciate your time today. And like I say, send in some questions. I'll try to answer them best I can. I just want to say, hey, you guys have a good day and stay healthy and stay safe.
You too, thanks.
What's that, Leonard?
You have a good day too.
You too. Thanks, Leonard.